What's your financial goal?
You want more money? Turn what you know into dough. Start hanging out with the people who have it. You create wealth on your own terms. It is not only your rights, but your duty to build wealth.
You are fiscally fabulous.
It's time to enjoy your legacy.
You're listening to Fiscally Fabulous with Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire, a podcast that aims to provide you with the tools, guidance, and encouragement you need to build your wealth, enjoy your wealth, and leave a lasting legacy. Dr. Martin is an accomplished attorney, speaker, business consultant, and real estate strategist, an all-around self-made success who provides highly sought-after expert consulting in the creation, growth, and maintenance of generational wealth.
Hello, Fabulous. This is Dr. Teresa Martin, your favorite legal and business strategist, and you're tuned in to Fiscally Fabulous Lifestyle, your voice for legal, business, and real estate. On today's show, we have a fantastic show for you today, and it's all about job interviewing strategies for teens. Why is that so important? Well, did you know, according to Fred, the Federal Reserve Economic Data, Fred, is the unemployment rate for our Black and African American teens between the ages of 16 and 19, as of June 2020, is 23.2%, which is adjusted seasonably, right? Because they don't have full-time jobs and things of that sort. This is very, very important, and we really need to look at this because we are now in COVID. Some people on phase 1, some people in phase 3, some people on phase 4, but we are still in COVID. And we have our adults, facing unemployment, but no one is really talking about our teens. What that means, there's no summer school, there's no summer jobs. So what are we to do? This is affecting our American households, not just Black and African American households, but our United States Americans households, right? So our United States of America and the American households are now being affected by unemployment. But today's show, we're specifically focusing in on our teens and what that actually means. So before we dive into this, I definitely want you to know that this is something that you definitely want to take a pen and paper to. So do that right now, because this is something that you don't want to miss. To help us dig into the statistic about our teens and unemployment and to learn more about how we can fight back, we're joined today by Pamela Bodley, who is the founder of PB Initiatives LLC. Welcome to the show, Pam.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I am so excited to have you on the show to talk about this topic that no one seems to be talking about. But before we dive in, let's get a little background about your success story. When did you get started in the industry, and why are you so focused on teens and job interviewing strategies?
That is a great question. You know what? It all started back when my sons, who are now grown, when they were teens, and I would coach them when they were going on their little interviews, their first interviews, fast food, and I wanted them to present themselves correctly and so that they can be the candidate to get hired. So I would coach them, and they'd do great, and they'd always get the job. So that's how this all started.
And that's so very important. I'm so glad you said that, right? Because you said you coached your sons, into going out. So was that a foresight of coaching, to come? So that's very, very important. And I'm hoping our parents out there are listening, because that is some of the things that we do need to be doing more so at home. But at what point, Pam, did you launch your business into this area?
Well, in 2011 is when I decided to do workshops, and I put everything together and did workshops as a community service out in my neighborhood when I wasn't traveling. But it was only until this year that I actually incorporated myself and made it into a real business, because I really see that there's a need, there's a gap that needs to be filled, and I want to bring these strategies really to teens across the country.
And when you started in 2011, I know that you started this from a blog. Is that accurate?
That was my other thing that I've done. But I started this this started with me parenting my own sons and coaching them without knowing that is what I was doing. It started there. And then when I got laid off back in 2008, I didn't know what to do. So I said, well, you know what, I'm just going to do some community service and do this as a community service. And it caught on. And so the Westchester County Library System sat in on one of those presentations and loved it so much. So I've been working with them for the last like 3 or 4 years, and they send me out to the schools to present my program.
And I think that's where, my disconnect was, because I do know that you're in the coaching space and you're all about job creation. So that's why I'm like, really excited about having you. And, to speak about, the teams and the interviewing strategies, what makes you an expert on this topic? Give us a little idea about that.
Okay, well, I've been working myself for decades, so I've mastered, the art of what interviewers are looking for. And with teens, it's very elementary. It's not quite as complicated, but there's a lot of nuances about job interviewing that teens just don't know because they don't know what they don't know. So they need someone to teach them. I also have a business degree, an undergrad degree in business, and just, learning myself how to do business, as an employer myself, because I'll hire teens for to help me do little jobs. I sat on both sides of the table as the interviewer and the interviewee. So I know what's expected on both ends, and I can coach them with that knowledge.
Oh, this is awesome. I'm just happy that we're having this discussion. And when we return, we will explore the problems which exist in the areas of teens and employment. We'll be right back after this short break.
For many women entrepreneurs, the struggle is real. We arose becoming stronger with every fight. Wealth is what we built from that together. A wealth of resources, a wealth of knowledge, and a wealth of powerful businesswomen. When you are ready to achieve financial freedom and become fiscally fabulous, call. It will not be wealth that empowered your success. It will be this call. EnjoyYourLegacy.com, 646-437-7139.
Well, welcome back, Fabulous. And you have been listening to Fiscally Fabulous Lifestyle, and I'm your host, Dr. Teresa. And we have been speaking with Pamela Bodley and on the topic of job interviewing skills or strategies for our teens. Pam, who does the problem of unemployment or job strategies affect, and why?
You mean who does it affect when the kids can't get jobs?
Correct. Like, well, who's being affected, when our teens can't get jobs?
Well, it's affecting really the entire country, because we need our teens to be trained. As you said, the teens are our future. So if we can't get them trained in business and business know-how and strategies early, we want to get them ready for the world. We want to get them ready to lead. So really, it's they suffer. The country suffers. We suffer as a whole because we really need them to be up to speed when it comes time for them to have a career.
And would you say one of the biggest problems is that they're not adequately or properly trained? Is that the issue?
I would say yes and no. I know for a fact that there are several other programs out there with youth bureaus who have career training. But what I found is that they're not quite doing it the way I'm doing it and giving them like really the meat and potatoes. Like in my program, there's no fluff. It's all, this is what you do. This is how you do it. So, they're getting all of that. So what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to youth bureaus across the country to not duplicate what they already have, but to enhance what they have. Because a lot of times teens will hear it, when they hear it from a different source, it'll sink in. So I want to enhance their programs, or if they have no program at all, bring my program to them so that they have some place for teens to come and learn their business strategy.
Awesome. So point of clarification. So there are other youth agencies out there that are helping with, jobs or job strategies, things of that sort, but not necessarily doing it the way that you are doing it. And your formula or your blueprint, you either work with the agency, and or if they do not have a program already set up, you help them enroll or, outline your blueprint for that agency. Is that accurate? Did I try to restate that properly?
Yes, I kind of piggyback and find out what they're doing, and then I will enhance. I'll bring my program in, and a lot of the agencies, like, they'll help the teens like do resumes and help them find websites to look for jobs. But I'm not sure that they're getting the proper training and coaching for the interview strategy, which is the preparation for the interview, how to research the company and so that you have things to talk about on your interview. How many copies of your resume? Do you have a resume? What do you put on a resume if you've never worked before? How to interview when you've never had a job before. But with my program, if you've never had a job before, I can teach you exactly what to say and how to present yourself in a way that'll make you look favorable to an employer, even with no experience at all.
That's phenomenal. So I'm thinking back to my first job. Okay, we talked about that long ago, right? That's what we got going on with that there. But I cannot recall having that type of training. And now, with my daughters, I don't recall them having that type of training. And now with my granddaughter, now, yes, she's only 12, she'll be 13, but, I don't recall any place where that actually is given. So I just think that's phenomenal what you're actually bringing to communities and to agencies that are large. But what are the common misunderstandings associated with teens and jobs? What would you say the misunderstandings associated with that is?
Misunderstanding for whose misunderstanding?
Well, misunderstanding about, actually going on to a job interview, They don't nuances or strategies that, you help tweak. Like, what misunderstandings would it be? Because some people might just go out, okay, I got a job interview, and they just go. So what are some of the common misunderstandings?
That is actually what happens. They don't know what they don't know. And a lot of the times, parents are disconnected with their teens. Not all. I mean, there's some parents who they don't even know to coach their teen on the little nuances on how to dress, what to wear, what not to wear, what to say, what not to say, what to bring, how to act. I think a lot of teens, they go on the interview, but what makes them so nervous is because they don't know what to expect. Right. And that's what my program does. I'm going to close the gap of the unknown so that they know, like, here are some of the tough questions that you might be asked on an interview. And I'm going to give you the right way to answer these questions. Like, tell me about yourself. Most teens are not used to describing themselves in a business setting with proper English and being able to communicate that. So that's like the type of thing that I'm trying to teach them, how to talk about themselves in a relevant way and not just ramble on about things that aren't relevant to the job, but where to start in their communication about themselves and why they're there.
I mean, that is really, as you're talking, I'm sitting here like, well, our adults kind of need that too. Okay. So all the things you're talking about as far as our team and job interviewing strategies, some of our adults also, when they're going on job interviews, you also got to tell them some type of interview techniques and etiquette, like turning your phone off, like simple things like that. Like, we're so mobile, dependent. So I know that's some of the things you probably talk to the teens about, but I just wanted to reiterate that sometimes you got to talk to the adults as well.
Yeah, that is true. Those little nuances, like, you can't be like, oh, let me just answer this one text. No, turn your phone off. And one thing that I find that's important is teaching the teens is when they haven't had any job experience, this is their first interview, their first job, I teach them how to respond to that. And the response is, for anybody watching, if you're a teen and you're watching this and you've never had a job, employers are looking for enthusiasm. So if they just interviewed someone who maybe has more experience than you, maybe they're older than you, maybe they're in college and you're in high school, don't be intimidated by that, because that person may not have interviewed as well as you. Maybe they didn't smile. Employers want employees with personality who smile. Don't be afraid to show your personality. And what you will say is, I know my resume may not be as strong as others, but I can tell you that I am a hard worker, I'm reliable, and you can count on me to be here when it's needed. That is what they want to hear.
And just to, piggyback on that, most people think that teens, they don't want to work, they are lazy, they are not productive. And the reality is, teens want to work. They want to be productive. They want to have their own income. They feel more independent. So the things that you are actually doing and sharing and encouraging them, I really applaud you, because you are helping us counteract some of the misunderstandings that's out there about our youth and about our teens. So I do applaud you for all of that you are doing. And for you guys out there, when we come back, we're going to discuss some of the solutions or payoffs that exist for our teens. We'll be right back after this short break.
Generational Wealth Zone is the leading resource center for driven female entrepreneurs. The future successful professional has a business coach, and the future is here, period. EnjoyYourLegacy.com.
Well, thank you for keeping it locked on Fiscally Fabulous Lifestyle. I am your host, Dr. Teresa, and we've been speaking with Pamela Bodley. And now, Pam, I wanted to ask you, how have you provided a solution for those teens looking for employment?
Well, the solution is the program as a whole. And of course, I do put, if you can't take the program for some reason, I do have a book that has all the strategies and everything I'm talking about. It is available at Amazon.com called Job Interviewing Strategies for Teens. And it is very affordably priced at $9.99. So part of the solution is to bridge the gap of knowledge that teens don't have. And that's really it. It's just to build their confidence. The confidence that they need walking into a job interview is huge. If they can walk in with knowledge and be prepared, I kind of like, I say it's like preparing for when you're in school and you're getting ready to take an exam. Do you do better on the exam if you studied or if you haven't studied, right? So they all agree that if you study, you're going to do well. I said, well, job interviewing is the very same concept. So I teach them to do their research of a company, like just jump on their website, see what it is they do. Because if they ask you, what do you know about our company? You want to be able to say one little thing. Well, I saw your new ad campaign, or I noticed you changed your slogan, or something. They just want to know that you know something. So just bridging the gap and building confidence in our teams is what I'm trying to do and help teens grow as our new leaders of the future.
And I like what you mentioned, Pam, about reminding them to build in time to get that interview, the research, right? You also mentioned before the break what to wear, and, what to do before and after an interview. So I think that is really, really key to, how you help solve. And thank you for the resource, Job Interviewing Strategies for Teens. That you can find on Amazon, and it's by Pamela Bodley, right? So
Yeah.
Can you give us an example, on how you actually help successfully solve this problem?
I felt like
This sons too, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do help by, I know exactly what they need. They don't know what they need. So I'm there to fill that gap. And I'm there to solve the problem to help them be employable. Because if they just go willy-nilly and they don't know what they're doing, they don't know what to say, they come unprepared, they're 50% of when you walk into a job interview is them seeing you and they make an assessment right away. And then the rest is how you interview. So I want them to walk in the door already looking the part. I don't care if you're going to McDonald's or Subway or Wendy's. I want you to wear a shirt and tie. If you don't have a shirt and a tie, just look clean. Look put together, neat and clean. The other part that I touch in my program that I'm not sure that any other program is doing is I touch on integrity. So when I'm in front of a class or in front of my student and we have a group, I say, okay, you just got your job at McDonald's. That's everybody's first job. Okay, now here come the family and friends. Who's giving a hookup to your family and friends? Raise your hand if you give it a. And the hands start to slowly go up, and I'm smiling. Then when I see all the hands go up, I'm like, I'm mortified. Put your hands down. You never give a hookup. And then I explain to them the integrity of once you get a job, you don't jeopardize it by giving friends and family an extra fry or an extra burger. You don't do that. And I'll tell you why. If they come in looking for that, then they do not respect your job and they do not respect you as an employee. When you have a job, your friends and family are customers that happen to be friends and family. They don't come in as friends and family. So just remember that when you are in a job, and remember that everybody's watching. So if you put an extra bag or extra fries in that bag and you get caught, you can say goodbye to your job. So have integrity on the job, do what's needed and go above board and do things that you know need to be done and never say that's not my job.
Oh, wow. You said a mouthful. I mean, we could just spend a whole segment just on integrity in the job place. You're right. So, but that is so key. And I am so proud that, one, that, I know you and you're in my circle and you're teaching our future leaders about integrity, on their first job or their fifth job, whatever the case may be. And there's no such thing as a hookup. And, letting them know that when they go into, their place of employment, that they are customers and not family and friends. I mean, Pam, just that alone, okay, is worth the price of admission, right? That is just so key. So thank you for your program. Thank you for your experience and your knowledge and what you're bringing to our youth leaders today. So I am just, proud. So I can just say that. So with keeping with that, what are some of your biggest lessons that you learned from your struggles, in whether it is helping the teens or whether it's just like jumping, into this business, because you said you turned this into a business in 2020. So, what are some of your best lessons that you've learned from struggles?
Well, I have learned that trust what you know and trust your knowledge and be open to sharing what you know. Because I've learned through hiring coaches that people actually want to know what you know. So it was like a revelation to me to find out that people actually don't know this. Teens actually don't know this or have someone to teach it to them. So not everyone comes from a family who has adults there who can teach you. So I know a lot of this knowledge is going untaught. So I'm just trying to fill a gap. So
awesome. I am just, just pleased and thrilled about, what you're actually doing. So I do, want to ask you if, it's just, I'm just floored. Okay. I'm so excited, as you can tell, but it's just truly been a pleasure to speak with you always, truly, especially on this topic that's so near and dear to your heart and mine. How can viewers engage with you to apply, your program, your solutions for their teams that might be struggling with employment, in this given, climate?
How can they engage with me?
Yes.
Oh, well, as we speak, I am working on a program for parents because in this day and age with Corona, I can't really be out in schools and I can't really be in person the way I used to. So now I'm doing it via Zoom, but I've decided that, I can empower the parents. So I'm putting together an online course for parents so that I can empower you. So if you take my course, I'm going to teach you everything I know that I would teach the kid. And now you can then be the hero and go teach it to your children and give them the tools that they need. And it'll be coming from you and not me, which makes the parent the hero.
And thank you so much, Pam. That is our time. If you want to reach out to Pamela Bodley, go to pamelabodley.com or email her at info@pamelabodley.com. This has been so fantastic, and we will come back after this short break.
So much has changed in the world, and reasons for legal counsel are many. With the law offices of Teresa R. Martin, PC, you walk in looking for solutions, but when you walk out with a growth mission and a support network. Get an attorney in real estate and business who knows and understands how to eliminate debt. Teresa has built an empire designed to grow businesses and strengthen communities. martinlegal.com.
Oh, welcome back. And I hope you were as inspired with the information shared by our special guest, Pamela Bodley, on today as I was. This is the purpose of Fiscally Fabulous Lifestyle. We want to take the fear of business ownership and real estate investing for you to live a purposeful today and a bright tomorrow. It's the spot where we speak with successful entrepreneurs like Ms. Pamela Bodley to discover their unique insights, their experiences, and their strategies for success. And I'm always asked questions that we talked about on today, which is, how does my teen or my youth get employed or a job? And I am all things generational wealth, helping you build generational wealth and break the chains of generational poverty. And I always say, we all got jobs, and tomorrow you start looking, is what I tell my children and my grandchildren, right? So own the skills. Watch your children and your teens, they have skills. We all have skills and talents, and we can monetize those skills and talents. So if employment is the issue and they are not getting jobs or things of that sort, we are in the birth of ownership. We can teach them on how to birth their own business. So we don't want to crush their, their insights if they can't get a job or the job market is not open for them. Our kids are our future, and we want to look for those talents and those gifts, and we want to help them expose those talents and those gifts, and we want to make sure that they can profit from their passions. So let's watch our children. So that's our show on today, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And remember, you are fiscally fabulous, and you're worth it.
This has been Fiscally Fabulous with Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire. If you would like to learn more on how you can build generational wealth and leave a lasting legacy, go to www.enjoyyourlegacy.com and be sure to subscribe. Thank you for listening. Until next time.